Down to the end of the court, you can tell that she's in pain. You can tell that there's something wrong. She goes to the, what's it called, like stanchion or whatever, the thing that holds up the basketball hoop on the other end. She hits her head on it. She is fighting back tears and she walks straight over to the bench. Now, when she goes over to the bench, she starts crying, and I've honestly never seen Caitlin Clark cry on the court except when she lost the national championship game. She keeps it together no matter what is happening, but you could just tell that something happened on that play. And it was either the pain of it was either like, here we go again, it was frustration.
That wasn't just the sound of a player in pain. That was the sound of a breaking point, a moment so raw and so real that it sent shockwaves through the entire league. For weeks, the narrative has been controlled by team statements and carefully managed press conferences. But with those tears, Caitlin Clark broke her silence in the most undeniable way possible. And now, we know why. That moment of emotional collapse wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning. It was the first public sign of a private war being waged by her inner circle against a league and a team they feel has failed her. And it's a war that now has a nuclear option, a secret multi-million-dollar escape plan to Europe that has reportedly been leaked. So, for all of you narrative analysts out there who knew that her reaction on the court meant something more, you were right. Today, we're connecting the dots between the injury, the institutional failures, and the explosive back-channel chatter that suggests Caitlin Clark may be considering an exit from the WNBA altogether. Here at The Narrative, we filter out the primetime noise to focus on the story behind the story. If you appreciate that level of analysis, do us a favor and hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that you want the truth, not just the talking points. Now, let's be clear. When we say Caitlin Clark broke her silence, we're not talking about a tell-all interview or some dramatic press conference. The message was far more sophisticated and far more powerful. It came just days after that breakdown on the court, when she was forced to officially withdraw from the WNBA All-Star Game. Her official statement was professional, but if you know how to read between the lines, the language was a flashing red light. She said, quote, "I am incredibly sad and disappointed to say I can't participate. I have to rest my body." End quote. Incredibly sad. Think about that. For a player known for her stoic, almost unshakable mental toughness, that is an uncharacteristically emotional choice of words. This isn't the standard, "I'm disappointed but focused on my recovery" PR line. This was personal. This was the language of someone who feels let down, someone who has been pushed past their limit, not just physically but mentally. This statement wasn't just an update, it was a confirmation of what we all saw on the court. Her spirit, for the first time, was finally starting to crack under the weight of it all. And that crack has opened the door to conversations that were unthinkable just a few months ago. And those conversations are leading directly overseas. This is where the story shifts from a player's personal crisis to a legitimate existential threat to the WNBA. Because while the league was busy putting out fires, a new one was starting in the form of a leaked contingency plan. Okay, let's get into the rumor territory because the chatter is getting too loud to ignore. Multiple reports and widespread social media discussions are pointing to a very real possibility that Caitlin Clark's camp is actively exploring options in European leagues. We're not talking about a vague idea. We're talking about specific numbers being floated around, potential annual salaries between $1.5 and $3 million. Let that sink in. That is a massive number compared to her current WNBA salary. But for all of you narrative analysts out there who knew that her reaction on the court meant something more, you were right. Today, we're connecting the dots between the injury, the institutional failures, and the explosive back-channel chatter that suggests Caitlin Clark may be considering an exit from the WNBA altogether. The motivation isn't a mystery. We've all been watching it play out in slow motion all season long. It's a case built on two fronts: a physical war waged against her on the court and an organizational failure to protect her off of it. First, let's talk about the physical war. From the very first game, Clark has had a target on her back. We saw the incident with Kennedy Carter. We saw the confrontations with players like Marina Mabrey. This isn't just tough defense, it's a pattern of physicality that many fans and even people close to Clark believe is designed to intimidate and wear her down. Her frustration finally boiled over in that game against the Sun, when cameras caught her looking a referee dead in the eye and telling him to grow up. But the most damning evidence might have come from her own family. Her brother, Colin, posted, and then quickly deleted, a message that read, "Make no mistake, this is on the reffing." When your own family feels compelled to publicly call out the league for failing to protect you, it tells you the situation behind the scenes is at a boiling point. But the failure isn't just league-wide. Many are now pointing the finger directly at the Indiana Fever organization itself. The coaching decisions have been baffling. Head coach Stephanie White's rotation strategies have been heavily criticized, with Clark playing inconsistent minutes, sometimes 4 minutes on, 5 minutes off, which is a nightmare for any player trying to find a rhythm, let alone one dealing with recurring soft tissue injuries. And when the worst finally happened, when Clark limped off that court, what was the official response from her coach? It was this vague, robotic, all too familiar PR.
No update, no, just felt a little something in her groin, so we'll get it evaluated and see what happens from there.
Line. Felt a little something in her groin. That's the same kind of non-committal language they've used after her previous injuries this season. Injuries that were then followed by extended absences. This is what happens when, as one report suggested, you treat injuries like a PR problem instead of a medical one. It creates a massive trust deficit, and it feeds the growing rumor that the front office is more concerned with ticket sales and public relations than with the long-term health of their franchise player. So let me ask you all this. Where do you think the primary failure lies here? Is it on the WNBA for not protecting its biggest star from targeted physicality, or is it on her own team for appearing to mismanage her health for their own gain? Drop your theory in the comments below. Which leads us to an alternate theory, one that gives Clark's camp a lot more credit for strategic thinking. What if this isn't just a reaction? What if it's a calculated power play? For the true narrative analysts, consider this. What if the leak of the European offer wasn't an accident? What if it was a deliberately placed story designed to send a clear and unmistakable message directly to the WNBA Commissioner's office? By introducing a credible, multi-million-dollar alternative, Team Clark changes the entire dynamic. They are no longer just asking for better protection or smarter management, they are demanding it. They've created leverage. It's a high-stakes negotiation tactic that says, address these issues, protect your number one asset, or we will take our asset elsewhere. It's a brilliant, if risky move to force the league to finally take their concerns seriously. Because they know, and the league knows, what happens when Caitlin Clark isn't on the floor. The financial doomsday clock is already ticking. The numbers don't lie. When Clark was out with her previous injury, WNBA viewership dropped a staggering 55%. When she officially withdrew from the All-Star game, ticket prices for the event collapsed by nearly 50% almost overnight. The league's record-breaking growth in attendance and viewership is almost entirely attributed to her presence. She isn't just a star player, she is the entire economic engine of the league right now. Her leaving wouldn't just be a loss, it would be a potential catastrophe that could set the WNBA back years. And it all comes back to moments like this, where you see a player who has always been tough as nails finally show the world how much this has affected her.
And not once has she shown emotion like that.
That emotion is the ultimate leverage. The WNBA can ignore complaints and brush off criticism, but they cannot ignore the visual evidence of their biggest star breaking down, nor can they ignore the financial consequences if she walks away. The bottom line is this: Caitlin Clark's emotional breaking point on the court and the subsequent leaks of a European escape plan are not two separate stories. They are cause and effect. Whether it's a genuine plan to leave or the most brilliant power play in WNBA history, the message has been delivered. The power has shifted. The Indiana Fever and the entire league are now officially on notice. Fix this or risk losing everything. So, what's your take on all this? Do you believe this is a genuine escape plan born of frustration, or is it a calculated move to force the league to change? Let us know your theory in the comments. And if you want to stay ahead of the narrative and get the real story on this developing situation, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Finally, if you know someone who only sees the headlines, share this video with them so they can understand the full picture.